Yes, I burned your cabin and all your livestock. What are you going to do about it? Call the cops. The cops can't touch me. The words landed like a match dropped on dry leaves, said with a laugh that dared me to blink first. I used to enjoy watching Karen go on her power trips, because entitlement always exposes itself eventually, and when it does, it's better than reality TV. She truly believed authority was her birthright, like the neighborhood existed only to revolve around her moods, her schedules, and that ever-present clipboard. When I first moved in, I kept my head down, my lawn neat, and my mouth shut. For 6 straight months, I didn't argue or complain. I watched. I listened. I learned patterns instead of starting fights. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're here for premium HOA drama, it didn't take long to see the truth. Karen never listened, never compromised, and never questioned herself. She handed out fines for grass blades leaning at the wrong angle, trash cans being visible for too long, and curtains that apparently offended her spiritual alignment. HOA meetings weren't discussions, they were performances. She talked at people, not with them, scribbling fines the way celebrities sign autographs. I avoided eye contact, nodded politely, and stayed in my lane. Somehow, that made me her favorite target. She'll find me for parking too close to my own curb, for washing my car on a Tuesday, for existing without enough enthusiasm. I paid nothing. I appealed everything, and I documented quietly. Ignoring her bothered her more than open defiance ever could. She wanted reactions, fear, anger, submission. I gave her silence instead. Neighbors whispered warnings. They told stories about people who crossed Karen and mysteriously moved away weeks later. I listened, smiled, and stayed exactly where I was. I wasn't planning revenge. I was collecting leverage. Power trips don't collapse from noise. They collapse under weight. And Karen was already carrying plenty. She strutted the neighborhood daily, clipboard held like a badge, peering over fences, snapping photos, inventing emergencies where none existed. Every knock on my door came with a smirk. Every letter arrived drenched in excessive punctuation. Still, I kept my door shut and my temper locked away. I thought if I stayed invisible, she'd eventually lose interest. I was wrong. My calm didn't bore her to challenge her. Authority hates being ignored. Karen didn't want compliance anymore. She wanted control, and it was clear she was gearing up for something much bigger than fines. Silence has a way of hiding tension, patience, and timing, and I had all three. The ingredients came together slowly, one quiet detail at a time, while Karen completely mistook my restraint for weakness. Before we go any further, drop a comment and tell us what country or city you're watching from. We love seeing how far these stories travel. Karen didn't take her cat's death well. At least, not in any way that felt human to me. After it happened, I braced myself for screaming, threats, lawyers, something loud, raw, and explosive. But none of that came. Instead, she showed up wearing that sweet, syrupy calm that makes your spine crawl. She said accidents happen. She said fate can be cruel. She said she was healing. Her smile stayed frozen, never quite reaching her eyes. I apologized until my throat burned. I offered to pay the vet bills, therapy, even help her adopt another animal. She waved it all away like pocket change and told me to focus on my farm. I wanted to believe her, so I did. Then the silence started. Days passed, heavy and unnatural. The HOA emails stopped completely. No fines, no warnings, no Karen pacing my fence with her clipboard and that familiar scowl. Neighbors whispered that she was grieving, that loss changes people. I convinced myself my warning had finally worked, that the message landed. To show responsibility, I locked my dog in a reinforced cage near the barn, limiting his range. I fed him by hand and promised him it was temporary. Every night, he whined softly, confused, loyal, trusting me anyway. Karen came back slowly, in ways that felt off. She dropped off cookies I never ate. She complimented my fences with unsettling enthusiasm. She asked about my water supply, my generators, my fuel storage, all wrapped in fake friendliness. Once, she stood watching my dog for far too long, head tilted, and casually asked if the cage was fireproof. I laughed it off, completely missing the threat buried in the joke. Looking back, every sentence was a breadcrumb. Then the strange thing started. An HOA surveyor wandered onto my land without permission, claiming he was checking boundaries. Another day, I found the latch on my fuel shed loosened. I blamed the wind, chance, coincidence. Across the road, Karen waved cheerfully, playing her role perfectly. Her calm became the loudest noise in my life. I doubled my patrols, checked every lock, and slept lighter than ever. I called insurance, reviewed my cameras, and told myself caution could outrun intent. Karen noticed everything. She asked about blind spots, joked about response times, and praised my preparedness with an admiration that felt wrong. Every conversation felt like standing too close to a live wire. Still, I believed vigilance was enough, not realizing I was already standing inside her plan that morning. I left early to buy supplies, trusting routine like a superstition. Halfway home, I saw it, a column of smoke tearing into the sky near my land, thick, dark, and unmistakably wrong. My heart dropped. Tires screamed as I pushed the truck faster. I called the fire department, shouting coordinates while dread filled my chest. Sirens answered in the distance, but fire doesn't wait for help. When I reached the fence, panic took over. Livestock scattered in every direction, some burning, others collapsing in blind terror. Heat slammed into my lungs. Smoke swallowed the air. I ran anyway, coughing, throwing water, dirt, anything my hands could grab. That's when I saw her. Karen stood near the fuel shed, gripping a petrol can, wearing a smirk that seemed to pause time itself. Our eyes locked. She didn't run. The fire roared louder. I tried to push forward, but a scream sliced through everything. My dog, his cage was on fire, flames climbing the metal bars. I charged, hands blistering, vision blurred by smoke. The lock glowed red. He howled once, then went silent. Something inside me broke clean in half. I collapsed into ash, sobbing, watching my life turn to smoke and embers. Firefighters arrived too late to save much. Hoses thundered, soaking ruins that should have been protected. Through it all, tiny red lights blinked. My security cameras kept recording, calmly capturing Karen's footsteps, the gasoline, the smile she thought the flames would erase. Night fell. Smoke lingered. Officers asked questions. I answered without feeling, staring at what was left. Karen was gone, leaving chaos buzzing behind her. Neighbors gathered, whispering, filming, shaken. Insurance forms stacked up. Evidence bags filled. Timelines stretched across tables. I remembered every strange question, every cookie, every smile. The pieces finally clicked into place. Rage didn't explode, steadied my breathing. I backed up the footage, logged timestamps, and listened to my pulse, slow. Across the road, the HOA lights glowed, bright and unaware of what was coming next. Meetings were brewing across the neighborhood, and I knew this story wasn't finished yet. Consequences take patience, and patience is something you learn standing in ashes. I stood there suit strict, exhausted, still breathing, and I was done pretending. The plan forming in my head wasn't loud or dramatic. It was careful, legal, relentless. Karen had written the opening act herself. I was simply going to read the rest slowly, one recorded second at a time. Dawn crept in quietly. Investigators came back again. Paperwork multiplied across tables and hoods of cars. I stayed right there, watching and waiting, letting facts do the talking while the embers cooled. Somewhere out there, Karen still believed she was untouchable. That belief kept breathing for a little while longer, unaware that pressure builds. Silently before collapse comes fast and without warning. She learned soon enough that fire doesn't erase evidence, it sharpens it. Investigators rebuilt the timeline minute by minute, syncing my CCTV with traffic cameras, fuel station receipts, and phone location data. The footage showed every thinker entering my land, spreading gasoline, lighting multiple ignition points, then walking away like she'd just finished an errand. Prosecutors moved fast. Charges stacked up one after another. Aggravated arson, felony animal cruelty, destruction of agricultural property, reckless endangerment, environmental damage. Bail was denied the second the judge saw the video. The financial fallout hit first. Forensic accountants calculated losses down to the last fence post. Karen was ordered to pay $2.47 million in restitution, broken down with almost surgical precision. $1.1 million covered livestock losses and future breeding value. $600,000 paid for destroyed barns, fencing, and equipment. $280,000 compensated for lost harvest cycles. $90,000 was assigned specifically for my dog, classified under aggravated cruelty damages. The remaining $200,000 covered fire response costs, soil cleanup, and investigation fees. Her house was seized. Retirement accounts liquidated. Wages garnished indefinitely. Then came the sentence. 14 years in state prison, with a mandatory minimum of 11 before parole could even be discussed. 5 years of supervised release after that. A lifetime ban from HOA leadership, animal ownership, and property management. The court added 2,000 hours of community service following release, limited strictly to agricultural fire prevention programs. Her name was permanent.